Folks, get your Marmite ready. Get your guns out for the emus. I don't think they have guns down there anymore, but get your knives out for the emus. And Daniel Ricciardo's at home. He's feeling good. I'm ready to watch some 1 a.m. racing, man. I'm ready.
This is apparently what they have to go through all the time. Maybe less so when it's in Europe, but most of the time they have to deal with a night race, which is insane. I could not imagine staying up super late just to like watch it. What if I had a busy day?
You busy day? We're not going to go into that, but let's talk about some Formula One. Yeah, yeah, they have to change time zones a lot. It's pretty crazy, but man, we're doing some qualifying down under tonight, technically on a Friday. Or where we're at, it's going to be at 1 a.m. So
Technically
very excited.
Saturday, but
Technically,
yeah, it's gonna
technically is
be
Saturday.
fresh Saturday.
Oh man, and the memes are back in force with this race. Everybody's talking about they need more downforce because everything's upside down in Australia, so they really got to stick to the track. But from the updates they've had, there's going to be new DRS zones. There's 4 DRS zones and 2 detection zones. It's a little more old school what they used to do. So if you're close and you get to 1 detection zone, that's 2 DRS zones you get to open up under.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's going to be, I think it's going to be a very close race. The times for free practice too are already very close, but
Well, so hold
top of the new,
on. So hold on. Does that mean that one detection zone is going to trigger two DRS, right? Does that mean that if you get passed on that first DRS zone, that means the second zone you just get to pull away?
yep, you still get the second one
Huh.
because you've already passed the detection zone.
Wow. Okay, so that's going to bring in some really interesting race dynamics, and I hope that doesn't make this race boring because I can see if Ferrari or Red Bull kind of get super ahead, it's kind of it. They're going to pull away, and then the other car is not going to be able to get DRS and catch up that speed because
I
two
think it's
DRS zones is pretty nuts.
I think it's the opposite. Whereas if you fall back and somebody's able to catch up with the person behind them and get 2 DRS zones, they're going to get so much more speed to catch up to first place. I think first place is going to have a huge disadvantage going into the middle of this race with these DRS zones, and I think it's going to
Yeah.
provide a lot more overtaking.
Yeah, it's almost like the first people are guaranteed to get past.
Yeah, yeah,
Huh.
unless you are way far out. If
Yeah.
there's a yellow flag or everybody bunches up, it's going to be fast.
We haven't had a chaotic start. I saw the track again. I was looking at pre-practice. I played it again on one of the video games I play, and I realized that that's a 100% red zone area that's gonna like possibly open up a huge accident at the start of the race.
Oh yeah, I mean when you got 20 drivers going flat out at the start and then pushing in for those basically hairpin back-to-back turns into another
Hmm.
straight, you're gonna get some people bumping and pushing. You're gonna get some wheels touching, and it's not as bad as what's the Mexico I think is the one where they start all the way back at the straight, and you just get to dive bomb the first turn. It's not
Yeah.
that crazy, but it is. It can't. It's gonna get pretty hairy out there.
I wonder if we're gonna see a wing like rip off. I don't think I've seen too many wings rip off. So Daniel Ricciardo last time we were in this track, 2019, I believe it was. He was racing for Renault and gets a great start. Kind of gets pushed to the curb. I think he hits a drain and his whole front wing just flies off. I wonder if we'll see any incidents like that during this race.
Well, they redesigned the track for safety based on that event. They've taken off one of the more major, like windy turns through a straight, so now it's a lot more straightforward. And they've changed the pit wall. They've pushed the pit lane out a little more, so there's more room. And I think they changed the speed from 60 kilometers to 80 kilometers an hour, because this is a very long pit. So everything's going to be sped up just a little bit,
Yeah,
and
I actually
that's in
heard
the
them
name of
say that.
safety.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard them saying that that was going to affect like kind of pit times and it was going to widely affect a lot of the strategies.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll see what kind of tire choices they have out. Depending on the heat in April, it could be another race of mediums and hards. Because I know nobody raced in the softs. I felt like because it was just too hot, and the track would just wear it down so fast.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a hard and medium race. Maybe initially, to get to Q3, you'll probably will need to use a set of reds.
Oh yeah, but we'll see tonight. We'll see tonight, baby. It's a good night. It's a good weekend to work night shifts. I'll tell you that much because I'll actually be awake to watch it. So
Yeah,
I'm hyped about it. But this is our first race here since 2019, after COVID took down Australia, almost sank it to the bottom of the ocean. But they're back, baby. You know, it's been a few years. Ferrari and Red Bull, no surprise here so far. They're locking up the top
top.
times.
Yeah.
At least Ferrari is, and Verstappen's the sandwich from free practice 2. It went
And they got
Leclerc,
Checo right
Verstappen,
behind
Sainz.
too.
Yeah, well, Alonso snuck in and beat out Perez on practice 2, but we'll see how it goes. Those Red Bulls they can find some pace when they need it.
Yeah, Alpine was really a surprising team for me. I didn't think they were going to improve so much from the last race. I mean, granted, last race I think they were doing really well, right? They were like in P6 and 7. It looks like they might end up in that same situation on this race, which will
Oh
be
yeah,
awesome.
and you got to understand there's so many races this season that not every team is going to have the best setup for each track. So especially midfield teams, they're going to need to take huge advantage when they got the setup down and when everything's going right for them. They need to have a great race because next week, next track, they could have a bad setup and it could be over for them that week and they could be out of the points.
hmm
So for these midfield teams, when you get a good setup and when you get a good start, you got to hold it and you got to do your best to get those points. So there
Yeah,
might not be another
absolutely.
opportunity.
Yeah, though they'll definitely be in a good position to pick up any scraps if anything happens.
Yeah, so you said you watched free practice too. I saw Bottas was looking strong. Is there anything that popped out and surprised you besides Alpine?
The other one was I thought Ferrari had kind of fixed their porpoising issues, and it really kind of showed that they're still present, but they're less so than other teams like Mercedes and AlphaTauri. Those teams were still suffering quite a bit. We had a few kind of like almost incidents. I think the McLarens were looking a little like shaken around. So I think McLaren has a position or has a opportunity if they qualify really well. I think they'll be able to at least score some points this weekend. But I think we'll have to look at everybody's race pace. I think it'll be interesting to follow what happens in Q3 and then how their race pace stacks up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I wouldn't say positioning is as important in this race right now, but like you said, it comes down to race pace, pit stops. All these things are going to take crucial seconds on or off your race time, and they're going to need every single second, which is nothing new usually, but especially with this one, I feel like this is a quick track. A lot of the rookies haven't driven this track before, and it's showing. I mean, a lot of the guys who are coming back into the race or the rookies out here, they're just not putting up numbers like I think they should. Like Sonoda, his first race back so far after last race's incidents and damages to his vehicle, and they just couldn't get a start for him. And he's not even top 10. He's struggling.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think they're in a half decent car, but it's just like getting this track, learning this track in a weekend, and actually driving it can be pretty tough.
Yeah. Pierre Gasly was in ninth. So I think if he's in ninth, I think that kind of shows that it's something up with their car too. It's not purely Yuki Tsunoda because that's only what 3, 4 places behind.
Yeah.
So I think they're pretty comparable. And obviously Pierre Gasly is a very good driver. So I think the AlphaTauri is kind of going through some things with Melbourne.
And I know a lot of these guys have driven like F2 and F3 on this track, but I feel like it's a whole different beast when you get into truly the pinnacle of race cars. It probably feels like a completely different track just with the speed and the grip and how fast you can take some of these turns.
Yeah, Guan Yu was really impressive. I think a P15 is very solid. Obviously, Bottas is up in
7th.
seventh,
Yeah.
but think back to last season and remember Pierre Gasly was getting like 5, 4, 6, and Sonoda was like 18 at
Yeah.
times, right? So I
Yeah.
think for him to be this comfortable already in P2, FP2, FP3, he's going to get more confident and he's going to be in a good position to maybe even sneak into Q3 or at least end up at the top of Q2.
I think if he sneaks into Q3, he's going to have a great race. Knock on wood, no mechanical issues, but us Sonoda fanboys over here, we both have his rookie card, so we need him to do good to make some money back. We need, this is a return on our investment, okay?
Yeah.
But oh man, did you see the Vettel scooter memes? He
Yeah.
got a 5,000 euro fine for
Oh man.
driving around a steward scooter on the track.
That's worth it. That's 100% worth it.
Oh man, there's a picture I saw on Reddit of him starting the grid, and instead of in his car, it's him blown up on the scooter taking turn one. I love that, man. It cracked me up.
It was definitely some fan service there that was done to appeal to the
Which is
people.
funny. I love how it's like a 5K fine, which to them has to be, I mean, like straight up pocket change. Like me giving $1 to a homeless guy. It's just more of a show of like, hey, don't do that anymore.
Yeah. All right. I get it. You're finding me.
Yeah. So, okay, whatever. I'll wipe my ass with that money.